One of my top recommended cuts of meat to smoke, especially if you're a beginner getting into this backyard barbecue game, is a pork tenderloin. I'm gonna show you an incredibly simple way to knock out a smoked pork tenderloin today with some really great tips and tricks for you to nail it the very first time when you make it at home. First up, let's talk about what a pork tenderloin is. Not to be confused with a pork loin, which is thicker from the loin portion of the pig and tends to be a little bit drier and more tough. The pork tenderloin is lean, it's super tender, it's incredibly flavorful. The pork tenderloin is essentially the filet mignon of the pig. What I love about smoking pork tenderloins is you can get a ton of flavor in a really short period of time. So if you don't have a ton of time to knock out, a big scary smoke in your first couple tries, pork tenderloin's a great way to go. It cooks in just about an hour and your flavor possibilities are endless. We're doing this pork tenderloin today with a mix of my sweet rub and my whiskey peach barbecue sauce, but you can go savory with just a salt and pepper based rub, or you can I have a beer and mustard marinated pork tenderloin that's absolutely delicious. I also have a honey mustard pork tenderloin, like I said, unlimited flavor combinations, but the cooking method, the low and slow, tons of flavor, tons of moisture, is incredibly simple and you can knock it out really quickly. So let's get started.
Now we're gonna bust into our pork tenderloin packages. It's pretty typical for these to come 2 to a package, and the overall weight will be about 1.5 to 2.5 pounds. We're gonna give these a light trim. Now any hanging off pieces of fat you can remove with a really sharp knife. You don't need to go too crazy and remove everything. It doesn't make that big of a difference in the final texture or flavor, but just anything loose and hanging I'll get rid of. Now we season on both sides with my sweet rub seasoning. This is a brown sugar based seasoning with paprika. I really like that kind of sweet flavor profile. These go directly on my smoker grates, 225 degrees. We're doing whiskey peach on the sauce, so I'm actually gonna use a fruit wood on here as well. Apple, cherry, both will work great. Once your pork loins hit about 135 degrees, around 45 minutes, you want to drizzle on that barbecue sauce and then paint it on with a basting brush. This is like a food version of making art. Let them come out to about 145 degrees Fahrenheit and they're ready to come off the smoker, and let them rest for a couple of minutes.
Now the color on these pork tenderloins is absolutely insane. You get the pink from the smoke, but also the seasoning and the sauce combined to make this gorgeous red mahogany smoky color. And taking it up to 145 is the perfect temperature for pork tenderloin. It's gonna give you a nice rosy blush pink color on the inside, tons of moisture, and it should be that same doneness all the way throughout because we cooked it at that low temperature. Now all that's left is to slice. I like to slice my pork tenderloin into medallions that are about 1/2 inch thick. I think that's a great way to serve them. You can shingle them and serve them. Let people take a couple of pieces off of your platter. Now we like to serve this with any starchy side that you love. It's great with rice, it's great with pasta, like a pasta salad and a smoked pork tenderloin, I think is an absolutely delectable summer barbecue meal, and it looks fancy and it tastes fancy, and you literally just sprinkled some rub on there and basted in some barbecue sauce and left it alone. It's incredibly easy, high impact, and look, my mouth is watering. Look at how juicy this pork tenderloin is. It's bouncy, it's tender. That is some really beautiful pork. And you've got that perfect pink inside and that pink smoke ring on the outside. That looks unbelievable. I mean, look at this. Having meat this tender usually means that you have been smoking it for hours and hours and hours until it just falls apart. But with a pork tenderloin, because it's so tender already, you don't have to put in that much work. You get all of the benefits, all of the flavor, all of the tenderness and juiciness. Man, that is a bite worth trying. If you are new to backyard barbecue or firing up a smoker for the first couple times, chuck a smoked pork tenderloin on there. I guarantee you're gonna get wow results and you'll come back to it over and over again.